en fait.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Hi. I'm Ariel from Photomyne, and we have Colin, the iPad man, who will share his wisdom with us today.
Hi, everyone.
We're really excited to have everyone here.
Terrific.
So we have a couple of minutes before we start. We'll wait for the last people to join. So if everyone can write in the chat where you're from, if you've scanned your photos, so we can get a feeling of who's with us.
Yes.
And Colin will have great comments for everyone. So I think we are good to get started, right, Colin? I'll take it to you.
Yes, well, that's it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And thank you, Photomyne, for inviting me to share my strategies for helping getting photos organised and getting photos scanned. For those of you that don't know me, I have been helping seniors for the past 8 years, learn how to master technology on the iPad and iPhone. And it's just been an incredible journey just seeing the progress that everyone has made, but also the kind of this stress that everyone feels around photos. It just seems to be one of those areas where we've always promised ourselves to get our photos under control, and it's kind of this job that's gotten away from us. So hopefully today I'll give you some incredible strategies to break through and make photos fun again, because the last thing we want are our photos to become a chore. So if you do have a question that you would like answered during this lesson, please do put a triple Q in front of them. It's great to see all of the comments coming through, and they're coming through so fast I cannot answer them all. But if you do have a question, please put a triple Q in front and I'll get to the questions at the end. So I'm going to try, there's so much to get through today. I'm going to try and start off with giving everyone a bit of an idea on how I'd organize the photos first before we get into this incredible Photomyne app. And if you hang around to the end, I'm going to make a very, very special offer that I've never done before. So please do hang around to the end of this lesson and I will make it worth your while with an incredible special, which hopefully will get all of you using Photomyne. So just a reminder that you might want to make this video full screen. If there are two arrows that might be in the top right or the top left, they could be down the bottom. Just try and put the screen into full screen if you want to get the most out of this lesson. And if you do want to make a comment, you can, if you're on an iPad, you can swipe to the left or right to get the comments on the screen. I'd love to get your feedback as we are progressing. So look forward to your questions. So ultimately, what I would like to do today is talk about the Apple Photos app for a brief amount of time, just to show you why I think it's one of the best places to store your photos. Now, if you're an Android user, I just apologize in advance that the equipment that I've chosen is all Apple, but everything I show today could be done on an Android. Photomyne is available on some of the Android phones, not all, because I think there's about 19,000 different models of Android. And where I'm using Apple Photos or Apple iCloud, you could be using Google Photos to do a similar thing to what I show you. But otherwise, I just apologize in advance. I'm going to be demonstrating with Apple product. So we're going to go through some strategies for sorting your photos, how to scan individual photos, how to scan multiple photos, some really great tricks to speed up the process, and I'll show you some of the tools that I use, and also how you can add dates and captions to your photos. Okay, and as I said, I'll be looking for questions. So at the end of this lesson, I'm going to hang around for probably about a half hour answering any questions that you might have. So, firstly, there is no perfect way. If you're watching this on the Photomyne Facebook page, you've no doubt been spoilt by some incredibly talented people showing you how to get your photos organized. And there is more than one strategy. My way is not the perfect way for everybody. It's just one that I have found to be incredibly effective. So I'm going to show you why I think this strategy is a good one. But if it doesn't fit with your photos or your organization, that's okay. That's why there's so many great people out there giving you resources to help you enjoy your photos again. My number one goal is always ease of use. And one of the huge problems that I see, and why I do recommend bringing everything to Apple's iCloud, is that we kind of end up with this world where we have photos on an external hard drive. You know, I've got a couple of external hard drives here with photos on them. You could have an SD card, you know, the little SD cards in here, and you might have a drawer full of SD cards with photos on it. Or I've seen lots and lots of customers with the USB sticks with photos on them. And one of the biggest dramas with these things is that they're so small and they're very, very easy to lose. They're very easy to break. They don't last forever and they're very slow. So, you know, having to plug it in and access your photos, it is one of the slowest ways to access your photos. So I actually do not recommend using these devices as a place to store your photos. They were designed as a place to move information from one product to another or to store it temporarily. But I do not recommend storing your photos permanently on those USB sticks. So invariably we end up with photos on a computer, photos on an external hard drive, maybe on 2 external hard drives, and then you might do a backup or 2. And then all of a sudden when you're trying to bring all of your photos together, you end up with duplication and a nightmare. And let alone the tools that we had in the past where, you know, these computers suggested that we store our photos in, you know, these blue or yellow folders by date, and dates don't mean anything. I mean, if I say, what were you doing on September 11, 2001? Most people can remember because something really bad happened that day. Nearly everyone remembers where they were. But where were you on September 11, 1994? We don't remember the dates, unless it's a birthday. We don't actually remember what we were doing there. So those storage systems weren't so good. So what I want to try and do here is keep this easy and give you a way forward. So using the Apple Photos app to organize your photos, I think, is one of the best strategies you can use. And then we're going to apply what I show you now to how you should organize your physical photos and how we can use Photomyne to bring those physical photos into our digital world. Because let's face it, as we go forward right now, digital libraries just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We just keep taking more and more and more photos. So why do I love the Apple Photo system? Now, let's get to the right screen. There we go. So here is my iPad. And when I open up my Photos app, and this iPad is running iPad OS 14, so it might look slightly different to yours. So please don't update to iPad OS 14 for a week or 2 if you can avoid it. But just to give you an idea what the difference is between them, I'll just go to this photo here, and you'll see that here on the old iOS 13 or iPad OS 13, Photos is down the bottom, For You next to it, Albums, and then Search. For my lesson today, these 4 menus still exist, but they're going to be just down the side here of the iPad. So the menu Photos has been replaced with Library. The For You is still up here. It's just moved from the bottom to here. And Albums has been moved down this left-hand side where you have My Albums and a section called All Albums. And then we have Search there. So anything that I'm showing you today, if you don't have a device that's been updated yet, don't worry. When you do update it, you can re-watch this video if you need to and see whereabouts I'm talking or what I'm talking about. So what I try and do and what I suggest for everyone to do is with your albums, try and, I think about folders like shelves on a bookcase and albums like the albums that sit on those shelves. And I would suggest that one of the best ways to get your photos organized is to think about things a bit bigger. Because in the past, you've created a folder, maybe on a computer, and it was called Weekend Barbecue, and it's got 7 photos in it. But if I was to come round to your home, you wouldn't pick that album up off the shelf and show me this album that only had 7 photos. We want to have an album's full, and that's where we've got to start thinking and organizing our photos. Think bigger. And so here with my example, I've got a folder here called Animals. I'm just going to make this full screen. So here I've got Animals, and I'll just do this as a demo. I actually don't need an album called Animals, but it's a really good one to demonstrate. I have celebrations, which can be, you know, Australia Day, weddings, parties, things like that. Family folders, and this has got albums inside that are all family members. I've got my holidays here, and then it's broken down to the places I've been on holidays. And then we've got scenic shots, you know, those scenic shots you take, you know, the 400 photos of the sunrise and the sun's going to rise again tomorrow, you know, rainbows and clouds and things like that. Where I've lived in homes and, you know, Perth, Sydney, Sunshine Coast, and I can put those albums on those particular shelves. So when you take a look at my overall collection of photos, I can show it to you now, excluding these first three, which are kind of Apple generated ones, or this third one I'll talk to you at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And realistically, 2 of those are for work, and 1 of them is for me organising videos. So I've got my entire photo collection just into 8 groups. And I'm going to encourage you to think like this when we start talking about your physical photos. We want to make sure that you can access your photos within a couple of clicks. And one of the benefits of putting it in a place like this is here I can click on holidays, and let's say I say UK. I can come up here to Castleton. You can see I've got a generous amount of photos in the album. 80 photos. Not 4, not 7, not 13, 80. And I can touch on this album, and then just by touching these 3 little dots in the top right corner, I can play a memory movie, and this now creates a beautiful, and that might be a bit loud, let's see if I can turn that down, because you should be hearing the music for this as well. There we go. And so within a couple of touches, here is a professional slideshow, time to music. All of the photos are changing. You can see I incorporate a little bit of video. It mixes the video with the photos. And this is all being done by the software, not by me. I mean, if you're anything like me, we've promised ourselves for years to make these slideshows, and we never get round to doing it. And so here's this situation where the software is doing the work for us. So the first thing is we need to get organized and create these albums that the software can then take and turn into incredible movies. And if you haven't filmed with video, that's okay. It takes the photos and it turns them into these movies as well. So why am I going to the effort of showing you all of this before we get into Photomyne? Well, it's just to show you where the technology is at, so you don't waste time when you're organizing your physical photos into groups that the software can do anyway. And this is here, I'll put my device in Do Not Disturb. There we go, go away email. You can tell we're live. So here I'm going to just come to the search section just to show you how powerful these devices have come. So a lot of people, they try and create an album for, say, the husband and wife. And you're searching through all of these folders, maybe duplicating photos on a computer to, maybe it's an anniversary you're trying to put together a collection for, or maybe it's someone's special birthday. Well, up here in search, I literally can touch up the top here. I'll type my name and it says, here's Colin, there's 2,480 photos. But now I can also touch up the top here and type Tian. And now it's found the photos that we are both in together. So in fact, what I did there, I actually made a mistake. I didn't select the image with the silhouette. So let me try that again. See here how there's a silhouette to the left of somebody's name. If I touch on this one, it's saying there's 494 photos that both Tian and I are in. One touch, and I hit search, and there you go. I can hit see all, and here are all of these photos, and every last photo here, we are both in. So I don't need to think about, when I'm sorting my physical photos, sorting them, oh, here's all the photos of Colin, or here's all the photos of Tian, because the technology is so advanced now that it does this for us. okay? And whether it be that you're searching for a person, or it might be that you love your pets and you might be searching for a cat, and we can here search for cat, and look, here's 56 photos of cats, and I can hit seal. So now I can create an album with cats. I could be doing this with giraffes, with elephants. You've gone on a safari, you could just be typing in the wild animals and finding these animals. So we've got software that can do all of this work for us. So we have to rethink the way that we're going to scan a photo if we're wanting to add it into this library. So for me, when I look at this library, when you click on the Photos tab in the existing Apple Photos, or if it's in the Google Photos, if you're looking at the timeline, this shows you all of your photos in date order. And I've got, I might just move my iPad closer to me at the moment so I can reach it with my fingers. You can see here, I have more than 40,000 photos. I'm not showing you a demo account here. These are my real photos. And there are 40,000, and I can just zoom in to whatever year. So let's go back to when I'm a young tacker. There I am, and I've just been able to zoom back and look. Now, this is advantageous, isn't it? All of my photos in one place. But how do they possibly fit on my iPad? And that's because whether you're using Apple's iCloud or Google Photos, you can store all of your photos, and those companies will shrink down the size of the photos for you. Now, Photomyne actually can do that as well. They can compress your photos on their system. But then there's a choice you need to make as to where do you save all of your photos. And you'll see that I love the Photomyne app, and I'm going to show you some incredible features within it. But for storage, this is where I suggest all of you store your photos. Now, if I pick up my iPhone or my iPad or my Mac computer or a Windows computer and go to iCloud.com, all of my photos will be the same. Every last one of them. The albums will be the same. If I delete a photo on one, it deletes on all. It's not as though you need to send the photos to iCloud and then delete them because you've sent them to the iCloud. I can now free up space. You don't need to free up space. All you need to do on your iPad is go to your settings and come down to Photos and select Optimize iPad Storage. And if you're using Google Photos does this automatically. So if you're an Android product, the Google Photos app does the same thing. It optimizes your photos so you can see them all and you don't have to worry about your device getting full. Okay, so I really strongly recommend that you use that function so that you can see all of your photos. Now I'm going to have a very, very quick look at questions, and I'm going to just to see if I'm on track, if there's anything that's come through. But remember, I'm going to be hanging around at the end to answer all of your questions. So here, using Apple Photos, that's what I would do. And so strategies for sorting your photos. The strategies, when you take a look at the technology, and the technology can recognize faces, it can recognize places, it can recognize things. The only thing that the technology can't do is recognize time. And so time is what we need to think about when getting our photos organized. How do we group our photos so that we can give it a label that makes sense, knowing that the technology can go and find our face. It can recognize me as a baby all the way to an adult. And so that's incredible technology. And if you're hunting for a photo of a bird cage or trees or flowers or a boat, all of those things you can just find in search. But you can't scan a photo and then say, find me my photos from 1970, if you scanned that photo today, then it would have 2020 as its date. So when we think about scanning our photos in, getting organized is the very first thing you need to do. And my suggestion, if I go to my overhead camera, is you want to group them by time and date if you can. So here are photos all from 2004, and so I'm going to try and keep the 2004 ones together. Here we've got some older ones. Haha, Tian didn't know I found these ones. These are photos going back to the 70s, and you might have photos of 60s, 50s, 40s. Now, you don't need to know the exact year. You need to, if you can't figure out the exact year, figure out the decade. But make the effort. I'm going to flip to a different camera. So I organised all of the photos in these little plastic bags, those plastic sleeves. So, sorry if it's a bit crinkly on the microphone. So I've got all of these photos that I'm organising into different groups by time, because I know that when it comes to adjusting them in the Photos app, I'm going to need to change the date, because I don't want to have here's the best of 2020 and it has all the photos from 1955. So when you're scanning your photos in, you don't want to be scanning a photo from 1955 1 minute, 1978 the next, 1962 the next, 1975 the next. You really want to make that effort to get your photos organized in a date format before you start scanning them. So what do you think about that? Who does have a lot of photos? Do you have them organized by date? Now, I have been noticing a few questions that are coming through just off to the right. There's lots and lots of questions, but one that just keeps popping up, and I want to address it right now because I get this a lot. And it says, this question is, Jill Stephen asks, my iPad says iCloud is full. What do I do? Well, this is really simple, Jill. You pay the money. If your iCloud is full, you're using the technology. I mean, this is a technology. I think most of you are using your phone every single day. You're probably using your iPhone, your iPad every single day. Photos, if the house was burning down, it's the thing we run to grab. Forget all of the appliances and clothes. We go for the photos. It's the memory we want to save. And it's $1.49 in Australia. I think it's 79p in the UK to go from the 5 gigabytes free to the 50 gigabytes, and then it's $4.49 for the next step. This is a small investment. How much did you pay for the film? How much did you pay for the camera? How much did you pay for the development? I mean, we've spent in our lives thousands of dollars, without a shadow of a doubt, thousands of dollars on how many different cameras have you had, all that film, all of that development. It's $1.49 or 79p. So if your iCloud is full, pay the money, okay? It's an incredible hobby and it makes everything so easy. So please don't skimp. Trust me. Maybe those of you who have been following me for a while, give some feedback as to how much you're paying for your iCloud and if you think it is worth it for how much easier it has become. Because I know so many of you have been scared about doing this update. It's at $1.49. It's like Catherine saying, pay the $1.49, it's worth it. So Jill, please do make that investment. So let's get on to actually scanning individual photos and how incredible this technology is. So Photomyne is an app. I'll call it up on the screen here. So let's get Photomyne up. Photomyne. And so it's actually called Photo. Look at everyone making comments here. Cheaper than a cup of coffee, $1.49, great value. I mean, look at it. It is an incredible investment. So please, Jill, take faith in what others are saying, not just me. I think it is so worthwhile to invest this small amount of money. Now, Photo Scanner app by Photomyne, you can see it's on the top, up the top here. And when you open it up, it will be free to download, and it has a 3-day trial. And then it has different pricing depending on where you are in the world. But in Australia, I think it's $14.99 for the month, or $65.99 for 5 years. In the UK, I think it's £40 for 5 years. So maybe someone can correct me, but certainly you can download that app. I'll make sure that a link is put directly to that app if you haven't got it already. And as I said, I'm going to do something very, very, very special at the end of today's lesson. So if you do want to get all of your photos scanned in, hang around to the end, and I'm going to do something special. But even at $65 for 5 years, this is incredible value compared to what we paid to develop the photos and now have them maybe stuck in a box somewhere. Okay, so now I'm going to flip to my phone. So I've got my phone hooked up with a cable. You normally don't have to do it like this. This is just so that you can see what I'm doing with these photos. Now I'm going to grab just a couple of photos here, and I'm going to open up the Photomyne app. So the Photomyne app, let's get that hard drive out of the way. So this is the Photomyne app here. I open it up, and what I would suggest you do is structure these albums either by the album that you're scanning in. I'm going to scan an album in shortly, or do it by the decade or the year if you know it, okay? Because this is going to make it so much easier later on for you to manage your photos and organize them in any cloud-based system. So I touch here on New Album, and the app opens up, and look what it's doing. It's telling us here to tap and hold the button for 3 seconds. So it doesn't get much easier than this. And what you want to do is get as close to the photo as you can, keeping it in that space. I'm going to get that, I think that orange mouse thing will go out of the way when I do this anyway. I hold my finger down, whoops, and look, it's saying keep device still. I could not be a doctor. Okay, and it's automatically cropped that image and improved its quality already. Now, if you have a photo that is a landscape shot, I would still scan it so it's taking up most of the frame in the phone. Okay, you don't want to try and do it like that. Give it the most space, because what's really incredible here is that normally, I'll hold my finger down for 3 seconds, and look at that. It automatically corrected the orientation of the photo. It scanned the photo and then just turned it. Now, I'm scanning it with the edge of my desk in place. You know, I'll grab another photo just to do it again and hold my finger down. It says keep device still. Yeah. And now that cropping is happening. So really simple. Let's take a look at those photos. There they are. Look at the quality. It's just amazing to see the quality of this photo from here to here, which now means I can put it on a big screen TV if I want to, and share. Like, who wants to share memories by all hoarding around a little phone screen? The best way to share our photos is to put it on the big screen. So now that we're scanning these, you can even take those little box brownie shots. Oh, here's one. Like, I have no idea how good this will be. I haven't done this in advance. I should have. I don't know why this is torn. It's me and my brother when we were really young. Let's give this one a shot. And I'll hold my finger down. See how well it does cropping. Oh, gee, it's done it's even taken the cut out. And look at that photo. From that there to that shot there that now brings back a memory, and now can go from being, 2 square inches to being on a large television or on your iPad. So it is pretty amazing what can be done. Now, you might have noticed there that it said, keep your hands still. So what, as I said, I could not be a doctor. What I've done and how I work with this, here is a $29 tripod. I mean, you can just go find any old tripod that you have. If you don't have a tripod, just go to a retail store and go to a camera shop and buy just a cheap tripod. And then what I've done here is I have put a selfie stick on top. So instead of attaching the camera to the top of the tripod, I've put this selfie stick on top of the tripod. And the reason for that is I can now get this above my photo. So I've got this, let's see if I can give you a better shot. I'll just move my camera down. So look at this. I've got the tripod here. I've got it sitting in front of the desk, and then I'll just put my camera on top. My iPhone on top, sorry. And now I'm able to keep this still. So I'm going to flick over to let's get me back in the frame, moving stuff around. I'm game to do anything live. Okay, so now I can open up that Photomyne app, and this now is nice and still. And let's say I want to add some more photos. This might be a bit high, but I could just now say, okay, let's put some Christmas photos in. Oh, they're all duplicates. So let's pick just a few. Move my iPad out of the way, move some stuff out of the way. And there are some photos. And now, I can adjust this tripod down a little bit. You can see the camera's sitting right above. It's probably going to pick up my iPad. Let's see how we go. Once again, I can hold my finger down on that button for 3 seconds. It says I'm shaking. And there we go. It takes the 3 at once. And look, it told you it'd pick up my iPad. But it's picked up those other 3 photos and cropped them in. So obviously the closer I get, the better job it will do. So here, I'm definitely get the iPad out of the way. Okay, so now I've got the 3 photos. I'm going to try again, hold my finger down, and it says it's doing the magic. There's 1, 2. In fact, it's not seen the difference between these 2 photos. So here's a little trick for you. Give it some contrast. So here I've just got some white paper, and I'm just putting this A4 paper down on the desk. And that way, when I put the photos on here now, we're giving this software a better chance of detecting the edges of those photos. Okay, so now I can just put that on, and I'll hold my finger down, and let's see how it goes this time. There you go. Look, it's detected all of the edges clearly. So here's a little tip for you. Make sure that you get contrast in the background. I just simply did this with a blank bit of A4 paper to put those photos there. And then I could get rid of those. Let's say now I want to put these, I've got some more photos I want to do. Let's show you an even better trick to speed this up, because this could take some time. Let's say I'll put these 2 photos down. And you'll notice that when I touched my phone, it still shook. And it still warned me that I was shaking. So let's take a look. I'm going to flip screens first so you can see what I'm about to do. I'm going to touch this icon here in that top left corner. And when I touch this icon, voice control is now turned on to capture a photo, say go. You're kidding, right? So now all I need to do, as I flip to the screen so you can see me doing it. Overhead will be better. Where's overhead? There we go. Go. And look at what it just did. It took the photo. So whilst it's scanning those next photos, I could be getting the next ones ready, putting them down. So here we go, here's the next two in place. Oops, it must have heard me say go with my finger there. Go. Takes the photos. I can now get those two out of the way, put the next photos in place. Go. And once again, it's just using my voice. How quickly now can we get this job done? You know, you've visited the local SeaWorld back when we could visit. I don't know if SeaWorld's open again yet. I hope so. Go. Go. And there we go. It has taken those shots just using my voice. How about that for a wow? You know, this is such an impressive app. As I'm all tangled up, let me untangle. I'm tangled in all my leads. How is that for an impressive app for being able to scan things into your device quickly? Now, as I said, all of this being done, you need to think about your organization first. If I was just scanning photos of my brother and I, and then I'm scanning photos of the family at SeaWorld, and then I'm scanning some photos of Christmas, and then I'm scanning some photos of, if I'm taking photos of any other year, all of a sudden when we go to manage it and organize them and put them into albums for later use, we're going to struggle. Okay, so I'm going to take a look. There's a couple of questions that have been asked on the Photomyne page, so let me have a look at those. Jackie has asked, is there a limit to how many photos you have? 46,000-ish. I have 80,000. Is there a limit? So no, the limit at the moment is 2 terabytes. Now, I've got 40,000 photos. Actually, I've got 40,000 photos and 5,000 videos. And my videos is what's taking up the most space, but that's at around 600 gig. So let's double it up. It's 1.2 terabytes. Let's triple it up and we're at 120,000. I'm still at 1.8 terabytes. Now, if you're getting to that kind of level of photos, we also need to take a look at managing them and getting rid of duplicates and getting rid of similar photos and taking a bit of control, because we won't live long enough to re-watch them all if we start getting to that 250,000 photo level. I mean, you need to make sure that the photos are valuable enough to watch. I think it's Ariel has just sent through from Photomyne's point of view in their recommendation of taking photos to make sure that you don't have shadows and harsh light. Like, I actually turned my front light off today, so hopefully there's enough light on my face so that I didn't have reflection. But let me just show you how good the Photomyne app is for helping you with this type of stuff. Now, obviously, you're enjoying seeing what it can do, and then you'll go, that's fantastic, Colin, but I've already forgotten how to do it. Well, in the top left corner of the Photomyne app are 3 little lines here. And when you touch on those 3 little lines, you have help and support built in. Like, this is the old story of who reads an instruction book, okay? So if you don't remember anything from today except this one thing, I'll be wrapped. Just click these 3 lines and then hit help and support. And it says here, see how it works. So you can touch on see how it works, and it says let me try, and it shows you exactly how to use this app. And it's telling me right now to hold my finger for 3 seconds on that red circle, and now that's showing how to work. Great job, let me try. Now it's showing the 2, and you can see that they're the wrong orientation, but I hold my finger down and it's shown me how to do this. That's fantastic. That's 2 great tips built in. Now it's your turn. So then you can come down here and hit help and support, watch a video tutorial. And scanning tip 1. take the time to find the scanning method that's best for you. Watch the video to get started. And here it's showing the lady holding her phone or tablet. This can be done on your iPad as well. Obviously it'll get a bit heavy, but it can be done on your iPad. So here it's showing you how to do it. And that's the first tip. Scanning tip number 2, use natural daylight instead of direct lighting to avoid glare. Make sure your camera's flash is turned off. Because if your camera's flash is on, it'll reflect on that photo and come back in and make it really poor. So you don't want it to be under fluorescent light. And natural daylight, I'll tell you what the best natural daylight is, a cloudy day. Forget those really bright sunny days. A cloudy day is the best day for you to scan your photos. Tip number 3, it says to avoid reflections, remove any plastic sleeves from your photo. So all I'm doing here is I'm just scrolling my finger across, and the app is telling us and reminding us how to use it. I mean, how good is this? How well thought out is an app that shows you step by step exactly what to do? And here's another great tip. I actually should have showed you this when I was using the tripod. Here it says, hold your device directly above and parallel to the surface. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring my tripod back in again. So let's get, see what I'm doing. Hopefully I'm not muted. Good. Okay, so I take the phone and I'm going to mount it on my tripod. But what I'm going to do, if you didn't know, the Apple iPhone has a measure app in here. So I'm going to search for measure. And one of the features of this measure app is a level. So you can see down the bottom here, it's got level. I'm going to touch level. And now I can actually maneuver this tripod to get it to be 0. There we go. I've got it all green. That is now parallel to my desk using the measure app to get started. Then I go and open up the Photomyne app and I'd be ready to scan with my iPhone totally level. So before you get started, if you are using a tripod, open up the measure app and get your phone parallel. I mean, how's that for a great tip? Let me know, give me some feedback here if that is a great little tip that you didn't know about, and if you think that could be of benefit to make sure that you get better quality scans. Please hit that wow or whatever it is, because that is just, you know, it's these little nuggets that make the results so much better, and then all of a sudden you're getting enjoyment out of your photos because the scan you did has worked really, really well. And if you think that that's worth sharing, once again, hit that share button. It's probably here somewhere. Hit the share button either now or at the end of this lesson and share this lesson with your friends, because these little things will make scanning your photos so much easier. Okay, so scanning tip number 4, getting level. Scanning tip number 5 is holding the device closer. So you may not have seen it on my tripod, but the tripod, you can raise and lower it by turning the little handle here. And so you want to make sure that you get the tripod down low, or if you're holding it in your hands, whoops, I just noticed I was mute. Thank God I got the headphones in today. So if I'm wanting to get the best quality of these photos, rather than doing them 2 at a time, I am best to get down nice and close to doing the 1 at a time, and that is obviously going to give me a better result than if I was doing 2 at a time, 3 at a time, 4 at a time. But you know, some photos are more precious than others, and some you do want to take that one shot, and then there's other photos that you just want for speed. So let's take a look at a photo album. So I'm going to have photos in a mess everywhere. So Here's my photo from Switzerland in 1986, and I open it up, and this is probably one, you know, I'm not going to obviously do all of this. I have done this album in full before. It's 346 photos, and it took me less than 25 minutes to do. And so here you can see that I'm holding my iPhone just about here. I tend to hold it with, I don't have the camera high enough. I've got my elbows in. So I'm holding both elbows in, holding the phone with two hands over that album, and then then literally what I can do is say, go. Now, if it doesn't work, then you just remember, because I've exited the app, it's not listening anymore. I need to go up to this symbol here. Oh, now my mouse is going the wrong way. You know, I'll point. It's that symbol up the top here with the little face on it. I know it's a bit hard to see on the camera there, but you know which one it is now. So I touch that. Voice is now on. Hold it nice and close. Go. Takes the shot. I'm now turning the page of my album, lining it up for when the camera's ready again. Go. And that one's going to come out a bit awkward simply because I've got a light off to the side here when I'm filming, getting ready for the next one. And as soon as it's ready, so there's the 5th photo done. I'm at my next page, go. And then I flip over to the next page again. So you can see that you could get through a photo album pretty quickly, and look at what it's doing. It's color correcting, it's auto cropping. It's just an incredible piece of technology. In fact, you know, I honestly believe that for most people, this will be one of the best apps that you ever install on your iPhone, okay? And it really is time to, you know, get your photos under control and get them organized. So let me know in the comments, what's the most important thing you need to remember before you start scanning? And whilst you're putting that answer in, I'm going to check to make sure that I am on track for the stuff that I said I was going to talk about. Boy, how fast. So we've done scanning individual photos, scanning many photos, using the advanced Photomyne features. So the advanced Photomyne features for me are definitely using your voice to be able to speed up that whole process, and also using a tripod. And so now let's talk about how you add dates. And look at some of the comments there. Best app ever. You know, it's just, I mean, it really is one of those apps that just stands out from the crowd. It is just absolutely awesome. So adding dates, how do we take those photos that we've now scanned and add dates to them? And this is where making sure that you have scanned these in an album that is by year is going to make the most sense. Or by, like here, this album, Switzerland. I know this album is 1986 to 1987. So you can see here that I've created this album in the past. So I've done this scan a few times. And so here's this scan. I've given it the name Switzerland for the album. And I've actually given it the date. So let me show you how I did that. I'm just going to touch, I just touch here where this would normally be blank. Actually, let me do it on the one today that's doesn't have many photos and is untitled. There we go. I've touched on an untitled album, and it says, nice album, give it a title to make it special. So I'll hit add a title, and I'll call this Demo Schweiz. Okay, save. So I've called this album Demo Schweiz, and it says unknown year. So I can touch unknown year and add a date. Now here I hit add a date, and I can put just approximately the year. Like, you could get really pedantic. You could go photo by photo and putting the proper date, and maybe if it was a wedding or if it was a birthday or something like that, the date, you can put in the exact date. I don't know the exact date, so I might just say here that was 1986. The month was probably, by the time I had the camera, and it became spring, so it's probably going to be April. And the day, it doesn't really matter. I'll just say the 10th. And then I hit the tick. And so now that has added the 10th of April 1986 to those photos. Now you can add a location here in the Photomyne app. But unfortunately at this point, and maybe in the future the developers will change this, but right now if we add a location here, it does not save that location to the Apple Photos app. And because I'm suggesting to you to get all of your photos in one place, having photos in Photomyne that show you the location and the date, and then having other photos in your iCloud which don't include these, to me doesn't make sense. I'm all about keeping it simple, get everything in one place. Now that's not to say that there aren't some features that Photomyne has. They have some great sharing features. If you've got some nostalgic photos and you just want to create an album of nostalgic photos and share them with friends, you can do that directly through the Photomyne app, and it doesn't interfere with your normal collection. But today, my lesson is about how do we get your photos into your library. And so adding a location here, I could write Bern, Switzerland, and it comes up Bern, and I can say, there you go, Bern, Switzerland. I could go through and add people's names, but I know that the Apple Photos app does that for me, so I don't want to double up and do it twice. But if you were only using Photomyne, obviously that's a feature you could use. And then I just hit that tick button up the top here, and I've now saved it. So those details are now saved. Now, if you've bought Photomyne, then what you can do, so if you've on the 3-day trial, or if you're paying $14.99 a month in Australia, or I'm not sure what it is per month in the UK, but certainly the 5-year option at £40 or at $65.66, you can then hit the share button here and just select all of these photos. And if you just touch the little dot up the top there, it selects all of them for you. So that saves you a whole lot of time. And then you can just hit save and save to this device. And that has now saved all of those photos to my Photos app. So if I open up my Photos app here and go to recent, you'll see here they are. In fact, I accidentally included SeaWorld in Switzerland, but that's something that I can fix. But you can see here, look at the date. It's got the date of the 10th of April on all of those photos. But unfortunately, there is no location. So the location is something that you can add, but at this point you'd need a different app to do that. And I do have all of those tips and things that can help you do that when you're ready. So what do you think about that Photomyne app? Please let me know in the comments, and I'm going to have a quick squiz now to see at what questions are there. And as I said, if you just hang for a few more minutes, I'm going to present to you an incredible special that I think will make every last one of you want to go and grab Photomyne today. So let's have a quick look at some of your questions. So here's one from Paula who says, I have photos stored on my computer, not a Mac, that are not in the iCloud. How do I add them? So you can actually go to iCloud.com. I think I've had this set up earlier. Knowing me, it would have disappeared off the screen by the time I restart it all. I'm just going to sign in so you don't see my password. Okay, so let me get that on the screen. So here is, if you go to on your Mac, on your PC, if you go to iCloud, get the cursor, iCloud.com and sign in, you can go to your photos and you'll see all of your photos here. So it's called iCloud Photos. And what will happen, it's probably not doing it on my iPad. It won't let me do it on the iPad, but on the PC, if you do it on a PC, it'll actually have a picture of a cloud up here, and you can directly upload your photos into the album of your choice. So you can set up the albums. I should really have done that on a computer. If I've got time, I'll call that up, but you definitely can get your photos from a Windows computer up into iCloud, so you definitely can do that. So I'm just looking for some Photomyne questions, because I know that, and with so many comments, it just makes it hard to find them all. Amaral Dawson asks, if one reprints the photograph, will the quality be as solid as the one on the screen? So this is all relative. Like if you've got, this is a nice, big, good quality photo. I scan that photo in. If I've moved my camera in nice and close, and I'm using like an iPhone 8 or 10 or 11, or in 2 weeks, the 12, the resolution of that scan is super high. And quite frankly, if you're putting that photo onto a TV, the TV has less dots than a bit of printed paper. So on the television or on an iPad or on the iPhone, the photo is going to look magnificent. Now, if you were to reprint that photo, would it match photo quality? Well, you'd have to have a really good printer. You'd have to be using photo quality paper and usually the proper brand ink. And the chances are that it might not be quite as good as the one printed off a professional machine. But just remembering that this is about reliving the memories. If you've already got the physical photo, do you need to reprint it? Maybe if you're sharing a special photo with family, yes. But those kind of special photos we tend to take to a professional photographer anyway, to get them, like a professional photo house, if it's something that's as a gift. But this is really about taking control of your memories and making sure that you're enjoying them. And I think, so many of our photos are trapped. I call a computer the modern day shoebox. You've probably got a shoebox full of photos. Well, the computer is the equivalent of a shoebox. Lots and lots of photos that you don't really see because, they're not well organized. And so this is where I've got to challenge you all to try and take control. So I'm going to show you a special offer now, and then I'm going to bring Ariel back in to see if there's any questions that I've missed from that side. And then I'm going to spend the next half hour going through all of your questions. But I think that Photomyne is so good that you would want to buy the app without a deal anyway. And for those of you that think that it's expensive, at $66 for 5 years, it's not a lot of money. You've got to remember that 30% of that money goes to Apple because they created this incredible app store that delivers these spectacular apps that we would never ever have known about. And then there's taxes and stuff. So when you take a look at it, Photomyne's $40 for 5 years. It's pretty good value for the type of software it is, and it keeps improving. So where to now? I'm continually asked, number one question, my iCloud's full. How do I get it organized? How do I use the new Photos app? The Photos app's changed. iOS 14 and iPadOS 14 has just been released. I'm learning new things about the Photos app. There's some things they've changed that that I love, and there's other stuff that I don't. But what I'm going to do today is give you an opportunity where you can get Photomyne for free. Okay, Photomyne for free. And the way you do that, obviously I'm not going to say you buy Photomyne and I give you the money. There's a trade-off. But I want to make a deal that is so special that I think most of you will want to jump on top of it. And I normally run a 6-week workshop, which is $199. And in that 6 weeks, we go through the Photos app. And so now the Photos app's changed. So it's an all new how to get to know the Apple Photos app. Now, I apologize, this is Apple only. I can't do it for Android. There's way too many Android products. It's just impossible to do a lesson on them. But if you have an iPad or iPhone, this is an incredible course. So we're going through in the first week, we show you how to get to know the new Photos app in iPad OS 14. In the second week, we go through all of the strategies to show you how to create folders, how to create albums, how to move albums between folders, understanding the difference between folders, albums, and photos. A lot of people think you can put photos into folders and you can't. So we go through some of the stuff I talked about at the start, but in far more detail. An hour just on that, and it'll be one of the best hours you ever spend. Then editing your photos, you're starting to get your photos organized. How do you make them better? How do you bring light back onto them? I mean, Photomyne is fantastic at doing color correction. How do we do that to our digital photos as well? So we go through how to edit your photos. And then we've got customizing the Apple memories. You saw there that when I started here with an album, I picked that album from Castleton, and I just hit play this memory and this incredible movie, and people love seeing their photos like this. But then once you see them like this, which is absolutely fantastic, then you say, oh, but hang on, Colin, I want to customize that myself. I don't like the photo that Apple picked. I want to change it. I want to change the title. I want to change things about it. So we have a lesson just on that. And then we work one lesson on how to fix the dates and the locations and how you can deal with duplicate photos, which is everybody's nightmare. So how do you deal with duplicate photos and similar photos? And then in the last week, we do a Q&A. Now, all of that is done, with large, easy to follow notes. So there's many of you who have done these courses with me before. You get large, easy to follow notes. They are step by step, showing you how to do everything. I don't miss a step. It's not like the traditional instruction book full of words. This one is an instruction book full of images with step by step instruction. So we've got one for every single week. They're normally about 20 odd pages worth of notes per lesson, and it will change the way that you work with your Photos app. So to make it extra special, I'm not doing it at $199. I'm offering it with a 20% discount up until June 30. And so midnight, June 30, 20% off, it's only $159. But to make sure that you're able to scan all of your existing photos and you spend that time getting those photos into your collection, if you buy this workshop at $159 and then you buy the Photomyne app in whatever country you're in, the 5-year Photomyne app, it's going to be in Australia at $65.99. I will refund you in full the $65.99. If you're in the UK, I will refund you in full the £40. Okay, so if you buy, what did I say? June 30. It was, dear Desiree, you'll be laughing at me already. September 30. I was meant to have, I've got it on the screen in front of me. I still can't even get the date right. Ending September 30. So this special is only for 8 days. If you purchase this workshop and you purchase Photomyne, I will refund Photomyne for you. So effectively, this is only going to be $159 for you to get a 5-year use of Photomyne plus 6 weeks worth of my course. And it's all recorded like this. You can keep it forever. You can watch it forever. You can download the notes. You can write on the notes. You get all of the notes to download and keep. And obviously, we send you a link to this video and another video I've done on Photomyne as well to make sure that you get. And Dennis says, did I mean 30th of the 9th? Yes. brain not matching the mouth, I'll have a glass of water. So special ends 30th of September. Just visit the iPadman.com/UPW for Ultimate Photo Workshop. The iPadman.com/UPW. As I said, this special ends the 30th of September, where I will refund the full 5 years of Photomyne. Now, if you don't buy this course, I believe that Photomyne is worth every last cent with or without my course. So if you just want to buy the Photomyne app at $65 or $66 over the next 5 years, that's exceptional value for the features that you saw. And I didn't even do all of the features in Photomyne because there's even more to show you. So if you don't buy my course, that's fine. I hope you've gotten incredible value out of today, and I hope you buy Photomyne anyway. But obviously, you're almost halfway to my whole workshop. You buy that workshop at $159, 20% off. And then you buy Photomyne, I'll refund it back down. So you're going to pay $159, including 5 years worth of Photomyne. So you can do the math and see I'm going to be making less than $90 for a 6-week course. Please go visit that website, theipadman.com/UPW, and take advantage of that special. It will not be extended, okay? At the end of September, I will not be refunding the 5 years of Photomyne. So let's go through some questions, and I'm going to call in and see if the guys from Photomyne, see if Ariel is still there, and if she might have some things she wants to talk about that I missed. So let's hope I can get the right screen up. Are you there, Ariel? How are you?
Hey, how's it going? That was awesome, Colin. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Is there anything that you think's really important that I missed with your app? Looks like we might have lost Ariel. Hopefully she comes back soon. So you can imagine Ariel's in Israel. So, oh, there you go. You're back again. Hello. It just froze
Excellent.
for a minute.
Hi.
Yeah. And I just want to let everybody know too that this is not a paid endorsement. Photomyne approached me to come do a talk, and they have graciously allowed me to talk about my course. But they haven't paid me to talk about Photomyne. I've chosen to talk about Photomyne because I absolutely love this app. And I think those of you that have seen me promote it before and have bought it before, in fact, Ariel, I don't know if I mentioned this to you earlier, but I know that you've got a lot of people who have purchased your app in the past. I extend this offer to anyone who's purchased Photomyne in the past 12 months. So if you've bought
Colin.
the 5 years worth of Photomyne in the past 12 months and you buy my course, I will refund whatever you paid for Photomyne for the 5 years. Okay, now obviously you have to buy my course. I'm not going to be refunding people who bought Photomyne 6 months ago, but if you've already invested in Photomyne and you choose to take advantage of my 6-week course, I will refund that as well. So how's that for a good offer?
Excellent. We have a lot of very excited comments on our end, so you'll get to see those when we're done being live. But it's great, and a bunch of people now interested in your class, so we're super excited, especially now a bunch of people are at home waiting for ways to learn about saving their history. So together, I think we each have a bunch to offer our users and followers.
Yeah,
so I'm
fantastic.
very excited about it. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any particular, because obviously, I'm a particular type of user of your app. Is there a feature that you think is worthwhile taking a look at that I missed, that's worth bringing to the attention? Because, it is something that's ever evolving, isn't it? The technology just keeps getting better and better.
Certainly. I think there are two main things that I always like to talk about, and I hope this is interesting to our listeners. First of all, once you have the photos, as you mentioned, the 5-year plan and all that stuff. So once you have all of your photos scanned with all of their details and all that good stuff, you can log in and do all of your photo editing and things like that on the computer. So you use an iPad, which is already a bigger screen than the standard iPhone,
Yep.
which is already easier to scan with or to see the details and things like that. But we also really love talking about the access online and things like that. And one of our most recent features, which I'm super excited about, is the option to scan the back of the photo. And essentially, what we wanted to do there was focus on not only having the photos scanned and saved and having our nostalgic memories in one place, but it was making sure that we kept all of the details that were associated with that photo. So, we all have in our shoeboxes of photos, beautiful photos. Either we didn't know who the person was, or we know who they were, but we weren't sure of their names. So, our grandparents, great grandparents wrote those details on the back. So, our newest feature regarding that is the option to actually scan the back of the photo and have those details be saved with the photo itself.
That's pretty
Um,
incredible. I
we're
I
very
remember
excited
someone
about
telling me about that, but as a person who doesn't write them on the back, this is why I said at the start, everybody has a different strategy, and that is a fantastic feature. So what I might do in the next week is even create a little video for everybody showing that feature, how it works, how you can flip the, to have the writing on the back come up onto the photo. That's really incredible stuff.
Thank you. I think so too.
Yeah. How long, when was that feature added?
A month or two ago, if I'm remembering
Wow.
correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually have a customer in mind who had around 10,000 photos with all the writing on the back, and she was like overwhelmed with having to scan both sides. So I think I'll be sending her
Yeah.
a link.
For sure. And I think also for people like that, I'm going to throw in talking about another feature, is the voice recording that we offer. It used to be just by album. So if you're scanning, of your trip in Switzerland, telling, some good stories or something like that per album. And now we have it for photos. So you can, you have the back of the photo, you have memories, you have all of these things that you want to associate with the photos. So people with lots of photos and with who care about the history and all that stuff can put it all together in one place.
So what you're saying, you can have that album kind of played as a slideshow, but record your voice telling the story.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I think that's something that we need to add to the workshop as well. So I'm going to learn how to do that, and we're going to add that to the workshop as well. So if you are interested, definitely take advantage. I really am so grateful that you invited me to come along and share my strategies. At the end of the day, I think we're both here to save people's memories. And I've actually been a user of your app for a very long time. I do know that I've bought it many times over over the years, and under different accounts, and you sometimes you test it for a little bit and then you stop and then you test it for a little bit. And I think that kind of sums up why the 5-year option is a really good one, because you go to attack it one weekend, or you think I'm going to do it this month, and then life gets in the way or something comes up. So having that time frame to get this done, I think, is a really, really good idea. So, and hence, that's the offer I'm going to refund to everybody. So I'm now going to get stuck into looking through the questions, and then I'll just check in with you at the very end, Ariel. So thank you once again for the invitation, and I'm now going to flip to my question screen and just keep answering questions.
Thank you so much, Colin.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm looking for lots of cues. So if I skip past your question, I apologize. I'm really just, you can imagine there's a lot of comments there, and the part that's going to make it easy for me is if I spot those cues in front. So if you do have a question that you do want answered, even ask it right now, because I possibly, if I don't get to it now, I will address them later on, as you know I always do. If you're watching via the Photomyne Facebook page, also put the comments there and I will respond to your questions there too. And I'm just very grateful for all of the support and how many people have tuned in to watch. Once again, what have you thought of this lesson? Have you gotten great value from this lesson? Okay, so I did cover that one off. How do I change the dates if they're incorrect? And let me just make this, if I make it big for one, it should make it big for all. Up we go. So how do you change the dates? In Photomyne, it was just simply adding the date to the album before you save it to your iCloud library. And as far as how do you change the dates if it's already in the iCloud library, well, Anita, unfortunately, that part is in the course. So I'm going to be answering all the questions on Photomyne today and things to do with scanning, but that particular feature, you actually need a different app. I'm here to talk about Photomyne today. We need a different app to address the date change if you have already saved it into Photos. So I don't think it's fair to talk about that other app when I'm here to talk about Photomyne, but it is included in the course. So make sure you visit that website. I'll just make sure it is on the screen whilst I'm talking here. So the iPadman.com/UPW. And let's hit add, make sure that stays on the screen there. So the iPadman.com/UPW to take advantage of that deal. So let's look for more questions. And I only have water tonight, not the glass of red. So Chris says, how can I get my photos from hard drives and USB sticks to the cloud, please? So there's a couple of ways. You need adapters. Now I think I've buried them all in my photos here. So here is a USB-A to Lightning connector if you have an iPad. If it's on a computer, obviously you can plug the USB stick straight into the computer, and then we can go to iCloud for PC and upload the photos. If you've got a newer iPad, there's a USB-A. I think I might be using it. It's in some of this setup here, but there's a whole lot of adapters that you can use to get your hard drives, any photos that are on external hard drives or on USB sticks or on SD cards, up into the Apple Photos program. Obviously, if you've got a computer, it can make it a lot easier, a lot faster. But since iOS 13, and particularly with these latest iPads, the 7th, 8th generation and the iPad Pros, we can copy everything up to get it all into one place. So definitely worthwhile doing. And as far as, Chris, let me know if you've got a Windows computer or a Apple computer, but it is absolutely possible to get there. And if you don't have those tools around you, get in touch, and we do have strategies to help customers get their photos up into the cloud. Marguerite asks, can we share the movies to a business page? Yes, you can. So once you've created a memory, either through Photomyne, if you create one of those new memories that Ariel talked about, where you can create an album and then dictate over it, you can then save that and then post it to Facebook, to a Facebook page. So you definitely can. And same with any Apple memory, you can put it there. Helene Ross, hi Helene, but are dates still important? Dates for me, you kind of want to, if you know a date, great, you can put in the photo's individual date. But I think most people are overwhelmed with the sheer volume of photos. So when you've got 300 photos, are you going to go through and say, that's the 25th of April, that's the 29th of April, that's the 5th of May, that's the 9th of June. I think that what we're wanting to do is have our dates in rough order, simply for when we are looking at our photos here on our iPad. Our iPad works out, like when we do this for you, it'll say, so here I can call it up for you and I'll see my memory. So Apple goes about creating all of these memories on this day in 2007, and it brings back this incredible memory of on this day in 2007. Here's photos of me, photos in a particular location on this day, 17th of September 2011. So when Apple's doing this incredible job of bringing our memories back to us, or if it was Google Photos bringing our memories back to us, and it says, here's the best of, what's the date today? 22nd. Here's the best of the 22nd of September 2020. And it's got photos from 1950 in it. So dates are important because the technology is getting really good at returning these memories, and we're wanting these memories to be more accurate. So if you've got the ability to even roughly get the right year or the right decade, then the photos in your collection will make more sense. If you're playing a story of your life, I mean, I can come in here and I can touch here on people, and then I can touch on my name and then hit play. And now this creates a movie of me, and it will be starting with me as a kid working the way through. Now, you don't want it to be bouncing all over the place. This can actually tell a really, really good story. So, it's now started. This will be probably lots of, there's little me, woohoo! And then it's going to get to drunk photos. So we might skip the drunk photos and get back to answering your questions. Once again, if you do want to take advantage of this special offer where you can get 5 years worth of Photomyne for free, visit theipadman.com/UPW. And the way it works, we've got instructions that will be sent to you. You forward us a copy of the email you received from Apple paying for Photomyne. And so we're obviously going to match that up against your purchase from us, that email. And once we've seen that you've bought from Photomyne, we will be processing the refund. Okay, let's keep going through these questions. Narelle says, the search of people by name, does the pic have to be saved initially with the name? No, it doesn't. So we do go through this in the workshop, but once again, this one is pretty quick and easy. On your iOS 13, it's a little menu down the bottom here that would say albums. On the new one, it's just right up the top here. It just says people. And I've had to name each of these people. So when you first have it up the top here, it would be no name. Like I could delete the name there and it says add name, next. Oh yeah, they're me. And see, now it says add name. I'll take that away. See, the name is missing. So when your iPad or iPhone first looks at your photos, it's identifying the faces that are there the most. Because obviously if a photo of a face is there the most, it's most likely a friend or relative. And so you literally come into this people album, touch on the face, touch where it says add name, and add the name. So I'll write Colin and put that in there and done. And now that person's called Colin. And it was that easy. And so now it will continue to analyze the photos and recognize my face and continue to add it to that album. As you saw earlier, there was about 2,500 photos of me over the past 50 years. How quick does time go, everybody? Let's move on. Do you have to name the people in it? Oh, I've covered that off. So, and let's cover this more specifically. So Helen's asking, do you have to name the people in each photo? No. What you want to do is you're naming the people who show up the most in your photos, but you certainly don't want to name every face because there's people in the background of your photo who you don't know, or you just met them once, or they're not close friends and you don't really want to see a collection of their photos, or they might only be there 5 times. So no, I would name the people who are your close friends and relatives, and then the software does all of the work and finds other photos of those people. So when you're looking at a photo, so let's pick one of me in here somewhere. So, oh, let's pick this one here with Tian and Trinity. Now I'm going to take my finger here and I'm going to slide my finger upwards on the photo and it will show those faces. So it's showing here who it has recognized in the album. And once again, we cover this in great detail in the workshop. There's incredible notes showing you exactly how to do it. It shows you how to add names if it hasn't got it right. We show you how to remove a face if it gets the face wrong. So there's lots of things that we go through that helps you make sure that the faces are working really, really well. And Jill, I answered that about iCloud being full. You buy more. I didn't know you could make folders to put albums in. Yes. So Valerie, the folders to me is the trick, because one of the problems that you have when you look at your collection of photos is if you've got lots of albums, you'll be going down and down and down and down and down. And like I had 1,900 albums and they were unusable. You know, 1,900 albums with some of them with one photo in an album or 6 photos in another. It's kind of crazy. So the idea is that, you know, always relate to, if you had a photo album on your bookshelf and you were giving me that photo album, would you give me a photo album that only had 7 photos in it? So your albums need to be bigger. And the best way is if you create an album and let's say it's, you know, barbecues with Colin, and it's only got 7 photos, then it doesn't need to be barbecues with Colin. It needs to be barbecues with all my friends over the years. It needs to be big enough to justify you creating an album that creates a slideshow, that creates a memory. And if it doesn't fit into anything, this is where Apple is really creative and brings all of that information in. Now, creating a folder has changed. I can see questions just come through. How do you make a folder? So here, where I've got add albums, I just touch on the plus and create a new folder. Now, if you're in the iOS 13 or iPadOS 13, you hold your finger down. So it's not just one touch, you hold your finger down and create a new folder. And that's how you create a folder. And once again, I go into incredible detail. There's lots of people. I've actually got some of my gold members watching, and I'm sure and people who've possibly bought one of my previous photo courses, and they can tell you about the notes and how good they are for helping you understand folders and albums and how to move things around. And I try and make it step by step because Apple buries us in lots and lots of text. So thank you for the question, Valerie. Karen, how does the iPad recognize photos, e.g. Colin and Tian? Have I named them? So yes, I did. As soon as I've named them, I can search for it. Without the name, if I didn't name the person, I couldn't search for that person because obviously it's not referenced yet. But now that I have, it's got all of that information and it will stay with you. Okay, you think about it. You can do combinations where it could be mother and daughter or father and daughter. So you can come here to search, and I'm just wanting to get some special photos. I can go Colin, and yep, there's me. Actually, I think because I removed my name, I've destroyed it now. I'm going to have to wait for it to catch up. And then I could do Trinity. Yeah, so by deleting my name, I'm going to have to wait for my iPad to catch up. Note to self, don't delete your name when you're live. Okay, so let me try it again. And I could say Tian, and then I could pick Tiffany, and there's 236 photos, and hit search. So you can do the mother-daughter shots and then they all come up, and so every photo would have both of them in there. You can also do it by place. I could say Tian, and then I could say Singapore. And because it knows we're in Singapore, here are 19 photos of Tian in Singapore. So the search gets insanely powerful But the first thing we've got to do is get all our photos to one place. And that's the combination of organizing your photos using the Apple software and then getting all of our old photos. Like, seriously, if you don't do this now, when are you going to do it? You know, this is the thing. You've got all of these photos. You've got your life's worth of memories. And we've all wanted to do something like this. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of us who are stuck at home, not for anything that we've had any influence on. It's a great time for us to get on top of these memories and actually make them valuable and bring joy back again. So if you're not going to take the time now to scan them, are you ever going to scan them? Why do you keep them? You know, there's often you're sitting in a box or sitting in a place where you don't see them very often. Jill, I've answered that. You must have asked it twice. In fact, you asked it 3 times. Just feedback for everybody. You know I'll get to the questions. You don't need to ask it. But Jill, thank you for the reminder, and I hope you have bought it. Trish says, hi Trish, great to see you watching. When I scan with Photomyne, I've added the date. Then once I've saved them to the Apple device, the date is there, then correct. So that's true. When you scan a photo in Photomyne, add the date in Photomyne and save it to your device, it will save the correct date. At this point, it doesn't save the location. Maybe that will be coming in a future update. Ariel might be talking to the developers as we speak. Lots of old photos in photo albums the old-fashioned way. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with leaving them in the albums, but if you're wanting to look at them more often or share them, you saw how quickly using a tripod or just using your hand and saying go, that you can get photos from your old albums into the digital world. Wendy Carter says, I have 81,000 photos and don't know where to start. It's daunting. I can tell you where to start. There's a guy who has a really good course on getting your photos under control. So for you, Wendy, with 81,000, I don't think there's any doubt. I expect to see you join. I have no doubt by the end of it, you will be getting a lot of enjoyment out of your photos again. And I start at the beginning. Okay, so I will be starting back at the foundation to make sure that everyone goes forward well. Lots of people talking about buying the iCloud, which is wonderful. Let's keep moving through, looking for more questions. Thank you for those of you that put a triple Q in front to make it easier to see. Chris asks, what's the difference in taking a photo of a photo and scanning the photo? Okay, so in effect, if you, let's talk about speed. You could have a traditional flatbed scanner and you scan photos. You could put a whole lot of them on there. You close the lid, you scan away, and then you've got to get them off and then scan the next slots. You've got to make sure it's set to auto crop if your scanner's capable of that. When it scans, it goes speed. These cameras are much higher resolution than your scanner. Like, think of your scanner like an old fax machine. The technology's just progressed forward. So in my opinion, you know, it's about speed. The end result, you know, maybe someone's going to spot a difference between a couple of those different products. You know, whether you've scanned a photo via a scanner or if you've scanned it via a camera. But I doubt it. I don't think you'd pick the difference between them. So speed. Speed is everything. Okay, keeping on moving through. And Valerie, I definitely paid for the 5 years when I took, yeah, absolutely. It is so good getting that 5 years. Can you use this with old slides? You can, and I'm not going to go into it here because there's another app that Photomyne have, which is for scanning slides. I think it's called Slide Scan. More than happy to put a link through I think it's about, I think it's similarly priced to Photomyne. And so if you do have a lot of old scanners there, and I do have one of my clients, Chris, who has used this app and absolutely loves it for her slides. She said it's worked really well. It does require you having a computer or a screen that's white, holding the slide in front of it, holding your phone. It's a little bit tricky, but it works. So I'm more than happy to put through a link for you. Lynn says, do you have to remove photo from under the album, i.e. from under the plastic? You don't have to remove it from under the plastic, like you don't have to take it out. But obviously if you're able to lift the plastic, you're reducing glare and reflection. Now, sometimes your photo is stuck to the plastic. What can you do? You will just do your best effort. Someone actually suggested, I probably have it beyond my reach now, someone suggested holding a black umbrella above when you're taking the photo to reduce the glare. Lots and lots and lots of people on the Photomyne Facebook page talk about using a black umbrella to reduce glare, so maybe you can try that. So no, you don't have to take it out, but you do, if you can, pull that plastic off. Mary says, can an iPad be used? Yes, it can. It's just a little bit heavier to hold, but absolutely it's, depending on the age of the iPad too, if it's one of the newer iPads, say a 6th generation or later, you will get a better quality scan. Some of the older iPads, Apple didn't design them with great cameras inside, so it might not be as good if it's a really old iPad. But yes, you can use an iPad with Photomyne. And Catherine, yes, you can. So a few of you are asking the same question, which is wonderful as well. Let's have a look through. Yep, another one. Susan, can you take a photo of a slide? Yes, it's a special app though, because you do need to have a white background. So they're using different technology because it's got to, it's a bit trickier. Anyway, I will include the link. Too much, my brain is overloaded. That's why you can watch a replay, Jeanette. It's just about making sure that we pull back the curtain, show you what can be done, and then you just bite it down into chunks. Hence with the 6-week course, like there's no point me trying to deliver everything in one hit. It's too much. Hence we do it over the 6 week, and on the very last week we do, where I just, like I am doing now, I'll take all of your questions. Bev says, love this, but I only have an iPad 5th generation and it's hard to hold still. Can you get a tripod that will hold the iPad safely? Yes, you can. So just go to, I'm just going to go to amazon.com.au and I'll just type iPad stand, and you know, there'll be, there we go, $31. And there's one that kind of has a little swivel there, and I'm sure you could angle that so that it could be over the top of photos to take, you know, so you could use that to take photos. So yes, absolutely, you can. I can see a question from Leslie. Is an iPad Air 1st gen too old for this process? No, I think the 1st gen would be okay. Certainly the cameras are better on one sooner, but I think that would be okay. Let's take a look through. Carol says, can you move already existing folders into a new folder? Yes, you can. There's a little bit of a strategy to it. And unfortunately, I can't go through my entire 6-week workshop in 20 minutes. Carol, that is inside the workshop. So, and it is in the notes step by step, and it's not quite as simple as drag and drop, but it literally takes less than 30 seconds. So it is pretty easy to do. So lots of people asking about slides, and I'd say that's something then therefore we need to talk about some more. Trish says, I've recently scanned my mother's photos and got them all first in best guest date order. It made scanning so much easier. I added details, names, etc. as I went. Well done, Trish. Now, Trish has been a client of mine for a long time. Fabulous, fabulous lady. And here she is applying the strategy, getting it sorted by the best guest date. And that is really what you need to do. You have to take your best guess, because sometimes you're just not going to know. So well done to you. My old photos are curly. What do? You just, firstly, you could put them between two heavy books to see if that helps. You saw what I did with this old photo. So you just give it your best shot and see what happens. But if they're curly, heavy book, leave them there for a month, come back. Just like we used to do with pressing flowers. I mean, who still presses flowers? You know, press the photos down between two heavy books, and hopefully you can reduce that curl. And Trish also is reaffirming what I said earlier, a cloudy day is the best day to do the scanning. Mary says, if I join Photomyne, can I cancel after 6 months? There's no point. I'm giving you 5 years. So Mary, if you did buy it, they have a monthly plan, $14.99, and you can buy it for a month, use it for a month, cancel. You can then buy again when you next need to do it, multiple times. Obviously, if you do it 4 times for 4 months in a period of a year, you're better off to buy the 5 years. And then obviously, I can't remember if you've done my course or not, but if you haven't, it would be a great opportunity to get the 5-year worth of Photomyne. But yes, you can, like any Apple subscription, you can cancel it on a month-by-month basis. Of course, if you bought 5 years, you can't, because you've got it for 5 years. Looking for more cues. Thank you so much for all of the questions. It's just wonderful to see. Trish, oh, thank you on the 500. Yes, well done. We've dropped a little bit now, but still over 300 still tuning in now to see all of the questions, which is fantastic. And please, if you're still watching, do share this video. You know that I turn up every week to do free tips on the iPad and iPhone. If you're watching on the Photomyne website, I've done over 180 shows now every week trying to help people. And it's very occasionally that we do a paid course or a paid workshop like this. So, thank you for all of your support and for all of your questions and the likes and the hearts, and even the 4 people who have given me the angry face. Lots of love to you too. I don't know what you were angry about. Maybe it was a particular feature. Sue says, can you use headphones to click the camera too? Yes, you can. Actually, I'd have to test that because you've got to hold it down, but I'm pretty sure you can hold down that center button on the headphones and get that to work. Probably just as easy to say go anyway, but I will test that and get back to you, Sue. Let's look for more questions. And I'm going to grab it. I'm getting a little bit parched here. Oh, where'd Janine's questions go? When all scanning and folders are done on the iPad, can I transfer them in the same organized photos and format photos to my Windows computer? No, you can't. You can view them on your Windows computer by visiting iCloud.com. But Apple and Microsoft use different systems. And what I really do love about the Apple system is that ability to play a memory, because if you've got 10,000 photos or 40,000 photos or even 2,000 photos, when do we look at them? And the Apple does a great job of every day or every week presenting to you a memory. And what it does cleverly in the memory, it ignores your similar photos. So it's very rare to see duplicate photos in those memories. Apple cleverly ignores not just duplicates, but ignores similar ones. So you've got 5 of the pelican, it only puts in 1. It's really, really clever. Yes, you can see them on the Windows computer, but no, it will not stay synced to the Windows computer. I've disappeared. No, I am still here. Maybe for a period of time I disappeared. Sue asks, when you create an album, e.g. holidays, how do you create a subfolder within the main one? So Sue, it's the reverse. You're creating a folder called holidays, and then you can create either another folder within it that's called Europe, and then have albums inside that folder. So you can have albums inside a folder, but you can't have folders inside an album. So think of it, if you grabbed a photo album off your bookshelf, here's my holidays of Europe, you wouldn't open up that album and then inside is another album. Like one album is an album, but the bookshelf, which I call the folder, that can have lots of albums on it. So you can have effectively the folder is called Europe, and then the albums can be called France, UK, Germany, etc. within it. Once again, all of that we do cover off pretty comprehensively in the course. Now, we have gone way over time. Does that worry me? No. Do you want me to stay? Do you want me to keep going through the questions? Because obviously we've gone over time and I'm feeling a bit guilty for the guys at Photomyne. Do you want me to keep going? Let me know if you can give me some hearts and stuff, and I'll stay here to answer some more questions. If you think the cup is full and it's time to go, then just let me know, maybe with the tears or something like that. I might call it in. I'm definitely going to go no more than 10 more minutes. So let's see how we go. Edith asks, what's the difference between a bought scanner and Photomyne? I think I've covered that off. Just Photomyne makes it so much faster because it's using that technology where you're just holding a phone anywhere. And you can be, photos can be hanging on a wall and you can do that. Trish says, I'm on Photomyne. Sometimes I have to say go 3 or 4 times. No bother, just saying for those interested. Well, Trish, you saw, I think once it failed for me tonight, and all I did was move a little bit closer to my phone and set it a little bit louder. So it either times out because you forgot to hit the, not forgot, it might have timed out, so you need to hit the button again, but otherwise it might just be speaking clearly. It could also be get a clean toothbrush and just give the microphone holes a little bit of a clean, because you might have a bit of dust or sand or something covering up the microphone on your iPhone, because as you saw, my one worked pretty well, and you can imagine how much stuff I've got going on in the office here. Okay, so just before I come back to these questions, I just want to remind everybody, whoa, what have I done there? Let's see if I can, questions, what have I, oh, I've got the wrong screen up. That doesn't help. Let's see if I can get the right screen up. Photomyne questions. It's disappeared on me. So there's the chat. Let's see if I can get it back. I've gone pretty well tonight without all of any errors popping up. So let's see, questions. And that's the one. So why are you not showing up? Oh, it's gone all small. That doesn't help. So I must have moved. There we go. So I've moved a mouse and somehow made my background go really small. There we go. So I just wanted to reiterate to everybody the special, and I'll get Trish's question off the top there. The special offer, if you do want Photomyne for free, visit the iPadman.com /UPW, and I will refund it in full if you buy the 6-week course. And once again, the 6-week course is going to be 20% off only until September 30. So both those deals only until September 30. So let's get back to your questions. Sharon asks, it takes up lots of space on my phone. How do I fix that? Well, that's just simply turning on optimize photos. And if you turn on your optimize photos, it will reduce the amount of space on your phone. So you could see there I've got 40,000 photos on my iPhone and iPad. You know, if I switch over to my phone here and I open up my Photos app, you can see there it's still 49,000. There you go, it's even more than I said. So there you go, 45,808 that are on my device. So that's 40,000 photos and 5,000 videos. And these are exactly the same. And if I go to my albums and say hit see all, and I go to holidays, and I go to UK, and then I go to Castleton. So you can see that they're exactly the same here on my iPhone as they are on my iPad. So it's pretty marvelous, the system that Apple have put together, and you don't run out of space as long as you turn on optimize iPhone, iPhoto. Oh boy, as long as optimize photos is on. Water. And it's good to see here, getting photos organized first. You know, Catherine, this is what I asked. What is the best tip? Getting your photos organized first. You have to sort them in advance. If you don't get them sorted before you scan, you are going to run into a lot of problems when you're trying to put them into albums. Hi Deirdre, great to see you watching. Thank you. Hope you're enjoying your caravan trip up in Rockhampton. Our caravan trip is probably next year. Angela likes the tip of the tripod. Very good as well. Okay. Every time I think I'm getting towards the end, there are more questions. So if I don't get to your question tonight, I will do my best to get back to them later. Paula says, I have old photos stored on the computer, not a Mac, that are not in iCloud. How do I add them? So quite simply, on your PC, you do a Google search for iCloud for PC, and that will come up with download iCloud for Windows. And you follow those prompts and you get iCloud downloaded on the Windows, and then we can drag your folders, your photos into the iCloud for Windows folder. Okay, so it is really, it's worthwhile. When you think about it, we all bought, you know, small photos when we were younger because it's all we could afford to get developed. And here's an iPad, which is a 10 by 8 or even bigger. This is an 11-inch screen. We were buying 10 by 8. No one developed 10 by 8 photos because it was too expensive. We all did 6 by 4s. And now we have a computer in the study, and nobody brings their friends into the study to look at photos. You can show them on an iPad, and it's so beautiful. So I do recommend getting your photos there. Okie doke. Well, I'm only going to take a few more questions and then I'm going to call it a night. And I just want to thank everybody. If I haven't gotten to your question, please accept my apologies. There are literally hundreds of comments here, so it has made it, I mean, it's absolutely wonderful to see all of your support here. Thank you so much for that support. I'm really, really happy to be here helping. Sorry, that screen's a bit messy there. Just a reminder that this special ends the 30th of September. So please, as I call tonight to an end, make sure you go to the iPadman.com/UPW and take advantage of this special offer to get a full refund on Photomyne. So what you do, you pay for my course at $159, you buy Photomyne, which you'll have to pay an extra $65.99 or an extra £40. You forward us the receipt of your Photomyne purchase and we will refund you in full. We just match up to make sure that you've bought the course from us. So thanks again everyone for tuning in. I'm just going to cross over one last time to the team at Photomyne before we say goodnight. Oh, looks like they're gone, or they're on hold, or they don't know that I'm about to throw back to them. So if they come back, great. I did take them way over time. We only planned for an hour with 30 minutes of questions, but you know what I'm like with questions. So thank you so much for tuning in. If they pop back, great. But there we go. Oh, hi Noah. That's not Ariel.
Yeah, she's gone. She thought this would be an hour.
Well, you know, it's about giving value to those watching. So I'm sorry we've gone over time. So, but
No, it's okay, but I think we'll email you the few questions that we have here.
okay, fantastic. Well, you are still live, so I am going to. You can wave at everyone and say goodbye. Thank you for having me.
Goodbye.
Thank you for the invitation. And if everybody can throw some love towards Photomyne as well, go visit their Facebook page. Make sure you're following them because there are lots more people similar to me who are offering their strategies too on how to get photos organized. So there's always more than one way. Make sure you pop over to their site and follow what they are promoting as well. So thanks again. Thanks for having me. Thank you everybody. I really do appreciate all of the support that you've shown, and I hope that you've learnt lots tonight. Until I see you again, cheerio everyone.
Thank you so much, Colin. Thanks, everyone.
You're very, very welcome. Goodbye.